So today we're going to dive into a pretty radical idea from the philosopher Friedrich Schiller, a way to fix the modern world. And his solution wasn't what you'd expect. Not politics, not economics. It was something else entirely. Let's get into it.
Let's just start with a feeling I think we all know. That sense that you're just one small, specialized part of this giant, impersonal system. You ever feel that? Like you're disconnected from the whole picture?
Well, believe it or not, that feeling is not new. We're talking over 200 years ago, right after the French Revolution, when the German philosopher Friedrich Schiller looked around and saw that exact feeling as the central crisis of its time.
He argued that modern civilization had become obsessed with one thing and one thing only: utility, usefulness, efficiency. And in serving this great idol, as he called it, he believed we'd actually shattered something really essential inside ourselves.
Schiller's big point was this: we've all become specialists. You're an engineer or an accountant or a marketer, but where's the whole person? He had this great line about us being eternally chained to only a single fragment of the whole, which means the rest of our humanity just kind of withers away.
So to figure out how we got into this mess, Schiller did what a lot of great thinkers do. He looked back in time and he drew this really sharp, maybe a little idealistic contrast between his world and the world of the ancient Greeks.
In the ancient Greeks, he saw something he felt we'd totally lost: this sense of harmonious wholeness. From Schiller's perspective, they perfectly blended imagination and reason, body and mind, into what he called a glorious humanity. They were, in a word, complete.
So he sets up this huge conflict, right? On one side, you have the Greeks, who he says were shaped by an all-uniting nature. Everything worked together. And then there's us. Modern society built on an all-dividing understanding, this constant need to break things down, categorize and specialize. And what did that lead to? Deep splits everywhere. Enjoyment got separated from work, the means from the end, the person from the state.
Okay, so here's the big question. If the very progress of civilization is what broke us, how in the world do you put us back together again? Well, Schiller's answer was not what you'd think. It wasn't about a new law or a political reform.
He came up with this really powerful, kind of surprising solution. He said, if you want to fix our deep political and social problems, you have to turn to art. The path to real freedom, he argued, both for you as a person and for society as a whole, runs directly through the experience of beauty.
He called this whole process aesthetic education. Think of it as a three-step program for healing ourselves. First, the artist has to tap into a world of pure ideals, not our broken reality. Second, when we experience that beautiful art, it actually starts to harmonize the conflicting parts of ourselves, our logical side and our feeling side. And it's only after that, once we become whole and free on the inside, that we're even capable of building a truly free world on the outside.
So, and this is the absolute crucial point, for Schiller, political freedom wasn't something you could just achieve by force or with manifestos or even through rational debate alone. You had to approach it aesthetically. Beauty wasn't a luxury, it was the necessary first step. We have to become beautiful souls before we can ever hope to build a beautiful society.
Now you might be thinking, okay, cool idea from an old philosopher, but this wasn't just some dusty, forgotten footnote. This idea profoundly shaped how Western culture thinks about the power of art.
I mean, his thinking planted some major seeds. His idea, the fragmented worker, it's a direct forerunner to Karl Marx's famous theory of alienation. And his belief that art has a moral, even spiritual function, that basically became the mission statement for the entire Romantic movement. And it influenced critics for 100 years who saw art as maybe the last offense for human values in an industrial world.
So the ultimate takeaway from Schiller is this: art is not just decoration. It's not just idle entertainment or a distraction from the real world. For him, it is a fundamental, absolutely necessary tool for human development. It might just be the only path that can lead us out of our fragmented state and back to our whole selves.
And that leaves us with a question that honestly is maybe more relevant today than ever. In our world, which is still so completely dominated by efficiency and utility, what role does beauty play in your own life? And you have to wonder, could Schiller have been right all along? Is that the real key to our freedom?